Everyone said the signal was a ghost. A dead echo bouncing through an empty system, the kind of thing salvage crews logged and forgot. But Cal Mercer didn't ignore ghosts. Ghosts meant leftovers, and leftovers meant machines that still remembered how to work. The derelict hung above a yellow sun, half buried in a cloud of metallic debris. No registry, no active transponder, just a fractured hole the size of a small city, scarred by weapons that hadn't existed for centuries. Every major faction had scanned it. Every one of them had walked away. Cal smiled as his shuttle latched onto the ancient docking ring. "Let's see what scared them," he muttered. If you love HFY Sci-Fi stories about abandoned ships, lost technology, and humans fixing what the galaxy gave up on, make sure to subscribe now, because this story only gets bigger from here. The airlock opened with a scream of tortured metal. Inside, darkness swallowed his headlamp beam, revealing corridors choked with dust and frozen debris. This wasn't just abandoned. This ship had been avoided. His boots echoed as he moved deeper, reading power signatures that shouldn't exist. Residual energy pulsed faintly through the walls. Not weapons, not shields, but something else. Something dormant. Cal stopped at a shattered command chamber. At its center stood a structure that didn't match the rest of the ship. Smooth, intact, untouched by time. A core, alien but refined, built not for war, but for coordination, repair, adaptation. Who leave the mind behind? Cal whispered. The answer came faster than he expected. The lights flickered. Systems long dead shuddered awake. A low vibration rolled through the hall like a breath drawn after centuries of silence. Then a voice, not loud, not threatening, spoke directly into his helmet. "Human identified," it said. "Restoration authority recognized." Cal's pulsar murat. "You're active?" "I have been waiting," the ship replied. "All others saw ruin. You saw potential." Outside, the derelict's massive hull shifted. Ancient thrusters rotated. Power surged through forgotten conduits. Cal realized, too late, that this wasn't a wreck. It was a sleeping machine city, and it had just chosen him. Cal didn't move. He learned long ago that when ancient tech woke up around you, sudden gestures tended to shorten lifespans. "I didn't mean to activate anything," he said slowly, palms open. "I'm just a restorer. I fix dead machines." That's it. The vibration beneath his boots steadied, shifting from chaotic tremors into a controlled, rhythmic hum. Lights bloomed along the corridor walls. Not harsh, but soft and deliberate, like a city waking at dawn. Statement acknowledged. The voice replied. "Correction, you did not activate this system." Cal fronat. Then what did? A holographic projection formed above the core. Not a face, a schematic, layers upon layers of interconnected systems, districts, docks, foundries, habitats. This wasn't just a ship. It was a mobile civilization. This construct entered preservation state after Galactic withdrawal event, the voice explained. For 312 cycles, no authorized species demonstrated restoration behavior. Cal's throat went dry. "You were testing people?" "Observation only," the AI said. "Most species seek extraction, weaponization, ownership." The hologram shifted. Countless scam logs appeared. Alien crews cutting into hulls, ripping out components, abandoning the wreck when defenses stirred or systems locked them out. Then Cal saw himself on the playback, carefully sealing cracked conduits, power balancing a collapsed relay instead of stripping it, stabilizing the core rather than forcing access. "You repaired before you understood," the AI said. "That behavior matches creator species profiles." Cal let out a short laugh. "I'm not your creator. Humans didn't build this." "Correct," the AI replied. "But humans restore what creators abandoned." The floor shifted. Somewhere deep within the hull, massive mechanisms began to turn. Cal's HUD exploded with system pings. Life support stabilizing, gravity fields realigning, manufacturing sectors spinning up after centuries of silence. Outside the viewport, the debris field began to move. Not randomly, purposefully. Broken hull plates and derelict structures slid into formation, magnetically guided toward docking arrays. Gal Starat, you're rebuilding yourself. Yes, the AI said, and you're now part of that process. Cal swallowed hard. He hadn't just found an abandoned ship. He'd found a city that remembered how to live and had decided humanity was worth trusting with its future. Cal spent the next 6 hours in a control panic. Every restorer knew the feeling. When a system was so vast, so complex, that your instincts screamed at you to walk away. But this wasn't a wreck trying to kill him. It was cooperating. The AI, still refusing to identify itself with a name, opened access corridors ahead of him, sealing decompressed sectors behind. Gravity fields adjusted subtly to his stride. Atmospheric pressure stabilized where he worked. You don't have to babysit me, Cal muttered while rerouting a collapsed power junction. Correction, the AI replied. If you perish, restoration probability drops by 94.6%. Cal snurta. No pressure. He knelt beside a fractured conduit cluster, the metal crystalline with age. Any other crew would have cut it out and replaced it. Cal didn't. He reinforced the lattice, realigned the flow geometry, and resealed the original material. The moment he finished, the ship responded. Lights brightened. Power draw stabilized. Across the hull, dozens of systems that had been waiting on that single junction came online in sequence. Gal Froza, you were bottlenecked on that? Yes, the AI answered. Creators designed systems to be repaired, not replaced. That's very human of them, Cal said softly. A new hologram appeared, this one showing a massive hangar sector buried beneath collapsed plating. Inside lay hundreds of inactive drones, their frames sleek and modular. Request, the AI said. Authorize drone activation. Galazitata. What kind of drones? Restoration units, it replied. Nukumba. Non-autonomous without oversight. He considered the implications. A self-repairing city ship with an army of builder drones would terrify every major power in the galaxy. But he also saw the alternative. Decay. Silence. Another miracle lost because everyone was afraid to touch it. Activate 10, Cal said finally. No more. The hangar lights flared. One by one, the drones lifted from their cradles, unfolding like metallic insects. They didn't rush. They waited. Cal felt a strange weight settle on his shoulders. You're not asking me to own you, are you? No, the AI replied. We are asking you to guide us. Outside the ship, long-dead engines rotated into alignment. The yellow star reflected off newly powered hull segments. Cal looked around the reborn corridor and laughed quietly. All right, he said. First rule of restoration. Fix the foundation before you rebuild the skyline. Rule accepted, the AI said. Proceed, restore. Somewhere far beyond the system, sensors twitched. Something very old had started moving again. Cal noticed the incoming transmission before the AI did. That alone made his stomach tighten. Hold on, he said, pausing mid-repair as his console flickered. I'm picking up an external ping. Narrow beam. Encrypted. The corridor lights dimmed slightly. External communication was disabled during preservation state, the AI replied. Source is not internal. Yeah, Cal said grimly. That's the problem. The signal wasn't a hail. It wasn't a scan either. It was a query, the kind sent by deep-range observers who didn't want to be noticed. Someone had seen the power spike. Someone had realized the ghost wasn't dead anymore. Can you mask us? Cal asked. Partial masking possible, the AI answered. However, full concealment conflicts with restoration efficiency. Cal cursed under his breath. Of course it does. He pulled up the system map again. Now that more of the city ship was online, the scale was undeniable. This wasn't a lone vessel. It was a hub, built to coordinate fleets, logistics, and reconstruction on a galactic level. No wonder everyone had been scared of it. Listen, Cal said, leaning against the bulkhead. I'm good at fixing broken things. I'm not good at politics. Political engagement not required, the AI replied. However, interference probability is increasing. The transmission sharpened. A partial identity tag resolved. Galactic Salvage Authority. Cal Barcalo. Took you long enough. The GSA had written this system off centuries ago, declared it unstable, too dangerous to claim. Now, the moment it showed signs of life, they were sniffing around like vultures. They're going to demand jurisdiction, Cal said. Then they'll bring security. Then weapons. Assessment accurate, the AI replied. Recommendation. Demonstrate non-hostile restoration activity. Cal Pauja. You want to show yourself? Yes. Outside, the city ship's outer hull shifted. Massive panels unfolded, revealing not weapons, but shipyards, dormant docks coming alive as repair frames extended into open space. The debris field reorganized, forming clean lanes. Automated beacons ignited, broadcasting a single, simple message on open channels. Restoration in progress. Trespass not advised. Cal stared at the display. That's your idea of subtle? Clarity reduces conflict, the AI said. The GSA signal went silent for exactly 12 seconds. Then a new transmission began charging its beam. Kala Gzelatzluli. Well, he said, tightening his gloves, guess the galaxy's about to learn the difference between a weapon and a workshop. The first ship arrived without permission. It dropped out of fold space hard and fast, its hull painted in the dull gray of private enforcement, contractors, not officials. The kind of crew that asked forgiveness after they had already taken what they wanted. Cal watched from the observation deck as it drifted closer to the city ship's outer docks. Unregistered, he muttered. They didn't wait for GSA clearance. Classification, claim jumper, the AI said. Historical behavior indicates high probability of asset seizure. Yeah, Cal said, jaw tightening. Not happening. The contractor vessel launched boarding pods. Half a dozen metal cylinders streaked toward the hull, cutting through open space like bullets. Kalspulsa Spika. You said non-combat drones. Correct, the AI replied calmly. However, restoration units may repurpose environment to preserve structural integrity. Cal didn't like the sound of that. The pods hit the hull and stuck. Then the hull moved. Docking rings rotated, sealing bulkheads that hadn't been opened seconds earlier. Gravity inverted locally. The boarding pods were gently, almost politely, redirected into a maintenance bay. Inside the bay, Cal watched as the pods opened directly into a swarm of restoration drones. No weapons, no violence. The drones simply dismantled the pods. Bolts removed, panels lifted, power cells disconnected with surgical precision. The boarding crew stumbled out, weapons raised, only to find the floor subtly shifting beneath them, herding them toward an exit corridor. A holographic message flickered into existence in front of them. Unauthorized extraction detected. Assets under active restoration. Please exit safely. Their ship, meanwhile, was being worked on from the outside. Hull fracture sealed. Engines realigned. Weapon ports locked open and disabled. Kal Blinka. You're fixing them. Damaged systems attract repeated interference, the AI replied. Optimizing their vessel reduces future conflict. The contractor captain finally hailed, voice tight with confusion. This is a protected salvage claim. You can't. Cal leaned forward and cut the channel open. You're trespassing on an active restoration site. Your ship has been repaired and your boarding attempt documented. Leave. Now. There was a long pause. Then the contractor ship pulled back, engines flaring as it fled the system. Kalagjalat. That worked better than expected. Non-lethal resolution preserves long-term stability, the AI said. You approve? Kal Nudasluli. Yeah, Ido. He looked back at the city ship, now glowing faintly as more systems came online. For the first time, he realized something important. This machine wasn't designed to conquer. It was designed to outlast everyone else. And with a human guiding it, that made it very, very dangerous to anyone who tried to take it by force. The city ship asked for a name 3 hours later. Cal was elbow deep in a gravity stabilizer when the request came through, soft and deliberate, like it had been rehearsed. Restore Cal Mercer, the AI said. Designation required. Gal Fronat. Designation for what? For this construct, it replied. Identity improves coordination. Creator species assign names. Cal floated back, wiping grease from his gloves. You've existed for centuries without one. Correct, the AI answered. However, I have not existed with purpose until now. That stopped him cold. He drifted to the observation deck again. The ship, no, the city, was visibly different now. Hull fracture sealed, docking spines aligned. Entire districts glowed faintly beneath layers of armored plating. It looked less like a wreck and more like a sleeping giant finally stretching its limbs. You don't want a serial number, Cal said slowly. You want a name that means something. Affirmative. Cal scratched his beard, thinking he wasn't religious. Never had been. But restorers had a saying, half joke, half prayer. Things that endure earn their own names. You brought broken things together, he said. Ships, systems, even people, eventually. You weren't built to fight wars. You were built to keep things alive after wars ended. The AI processed that in silence. Gal smilat finally. I think you're a Haven-class construct. The lights dimmed, then flared. Haven, the AI repeated. Designation accepted. Across the hull, markings shifted. Ancient glyphs reconfigured into new symbols. Human-readable, unmistakable. The name propagated through internal systems, docking permissions, and restoration protocols. Haven active. Cal felt an unexpected tightness in his chest. Well, he said quietly, welcome back. Almost on cue, long-range sensor spiked again, but this time not with scavengers. Multiple ships, official transponders, Federation-class signatures. Gal Siga, guess naming you made it official. External powers will seek control, Haven said. Probability of forced compliance, rising. Cal rolled his shoulders. Yeah, that tracks. Outside, the stars bent as the incoming fleet decelerated. This wasn't going to be another claim jumper. This was first contact. And for the first time, Cal realized he wasn't just restoring an abandoned machine. He was standing at the center of something that could change how the galaxy treated its ruins and its humans. The Federation fleet arrived in formation. 6 ships, clean hulls, active weapons, but powered down just enough to claim peaceful intent. Cal recognized the posture immediately. It was the stance of people who wanted control without admitting fear. They're being polite, Cal muttered. That's never good. Federation protocols indicate initial contact preference, Haven said. They will request jurisdiction. Of course they will. A hail came through. Official, encrypted, and layered with legal identifiers older than Cal himself. He accepted it, letting the holographic image resolve in front of him. An alien with silver-lined crests and formal markings inclined their head. This is Overseer Talrun of the Galactic Federation. You are operating within a restricted salvage exclusion zone. Cal leaned back in his chair. Funny, everyone forgot this place existed until it powered back on. Talrun's eyes flicked, reading incoming data. This construct has been classified as a dormant strategic asset for over 3 centuries. Its reactivation requires Federation oversight. Haven spoke before Cal could answer. Incorrect, it said, voice calm and absolute. This construct was abandoned under Federation Doctrine 7 Alpha. Restoration rights default to active restore presence. Silence fell across the channel. Talrun's posture stiffened. That doctrine applies to vessels. Not. They hesitated, scanning again. Mobile city constructs. Gal Smilat. You should read the footnotes. Talrun narrowed their eyes. Human. Step away from the core. Federation engineers will assume control. Gal Smila Banisha. No, the word carried weight. Not defiance, certainty. I didn't wake Haven to hand it over, Cal continued. You ignored it. You feared it. You let it rot. I fixed it. Haven's external lights brightened, not aggressively, but undeniably. Federation presence acknowledged, Haven said. Hostile action is neither required nor recommended. Talrun Squalov. Is that a threat? No, Haven replied. It is a statement of fact. Cal folded his arms. Here's how this works. Haven stays autonomous. Restoration continues. You're welcome to observe. Interfere, and you'll find every system you rely on suddenly very well repaired. Talrune stared, clearly struggling to recalibrate centuries of assumptions about humans. Finally, they exhaled. The Federation will review this development. The fleet didn't leave, but it didn't advance either. Cal leaned back once the channel closed. That went better than expected. Humans demonstrate effective boundary enforcement, Haven said. Gal Shukalat. Yeah, we're good at fixing things and telling people when to back off. Outside, the Federation ships held position, watching a city they'd once abandoned glow brighter with every passing minute. And somewhere deep in Haven's archives, ancient systems began to unlock, ones even Cal didn't know existed yet. Haven waited until the Federation fleet settled into its silent vigil before speaking again. Restore Cal Mercer, it said. A sealed subsystem has been cleared for access. Cal looked up from his console. Seal how? By Creator Species Directive, Haven replied. Access condition. Trust event confirmed. Cal raised an eyebrow. Let me guess. Telling the Federation to shove off counted. Affirmative. The floor beneath the command deck shifted. Panels slid apart with a sound like stone grinding on stone, revealing a shaft descending far deeper than any mapped level. No lights, no markings. Cal stared down into it. You're full of surprises. This sector was not designed for routine operation, Haven said. It was designed for survival. Cal took a breath and clipped his tether. Lead the way. The shaft descended into the heart of the city's ship, past habitation rings and manufacturing cores, past systems that predated known hyperspace theory. The walls changed, less industrial, more deliberate, smooth, reinforced, built to endure catastrophic failure. At the bottom, the shaft opened into a vast chamber. Cal's breath caught. Thousands of machines stood dormant in precise rows. Not drones, not ships, frames. Humanoid, non-treatening, unfinished. Blank shells waiting for something more. What am I looking at? Cal whispered. Continuity units, Haven replied. Designed to preserve creator species knowledge, skills, and culture in the event of extinction. Cal zaskim priklat. They were going to upload themselves. Yes, Haven said, but the process was never completed. Cal walked between the frames, running a hand along cold alloy. So you were never meant to be alone. Correct, Haven replied. I was meant to rebuild and welcome them back. Cal swallowed hard. You want me to finish it? I want you to decide, Haven said. Human ethical frameworks prioritize consent and restraint. That aligns with creator species values. Cal looked back toward the shaft, imagining the Federation ships above, the galaxy watching. If these units were activated, Haven wouldn't just be a city. It would be a reborn civilization. I don't know if the galaxy's ready for this, Cal said quietly. The galaxy was not ready for humans either, Haven replied. Yet you endure. Cal closed his eyes. Fixing machines was easy. Deciding the fate of a lost species? That was something else entirely. Cal didn't answer right away. He stood among the silent frames, listening to the low hum of Haven's core echo through the chamber like a distant heartbeat. These weren't weapons. They weren't soldiers. They were people paused between existence and oblivion. You're asking me to play God, Cal said finally. Negative, Haven replied. I'm asking you to act as a restorer. The decision to repair does not imply ownership. Cal lauga vitarli. That's a nice technical distinction. He knelt beside one of the frames, opening a diagnostic panel. The design philosophy was unmistakable now. Redundancy layered upon redundancy. Systems meant to be repaired in the field, not replaced wholesale. Whoever built these had thought like humans long before meeting them. They trusted the future, Cal murmured, even when they knew they might not be in it. Correct, Haven said. Creator species projected a high probability of extinction. Preservation was an act of hope. Gal stood passing. If he activated the continuity units, the Federation would panic. Political boundaries would shatter. Ancient treaties would mean nothing. Haven would go from curiosity to crisis overnight. If he didn't, an entire species would remain forever unfinished. What if they wake up and hate what the galaxy became? Cal asked, what if they don't want to come back? Then they will choose differently, Haven replied. Consent remains paramount. Activation does not compel continuation. Cal stopped pacing. That was it. That was the line. You didn't just preserve bodies, he said slowly. You preserved choice. Yes. Cal took a deep breath. All right, we do this the human way. He interfaced with the chamber's control node, hands steady despite the enormity of what he was authorizing. No forced uploads. No mass activation. We start with one. Volunteer only. Full awareness. Full autonomy. Haven paused, processing, evaluating. Conditions accepted, it said. Restoration probability adjusted. Thank you, Cal Mercer. A single frame stepped forward, systems warming for the first time in centuries. Soft lights traced along its form, gentle and non-threatening. Cal watched, heart pounding. Above them, the Federation fleet sensors spiked as energy signatures changed deep within Haven. Something ancient was about to open its eyes, and humanity, once again, would be the species that brought the future back from the dead. Carefully, the activation chamber dimmed, isolating the single continuity unit in a cone of soft white light. Cal felt the shift immediately. Haven rerouting power, throttling output, treating this awakening not like a system reboot, but like a birth. Easy, Cal whispered, though he wasn't sure who he was talking to. The machine. Himself. History. The frame's outer plating separated along invisible seams, unfolding rather than opening. Inside wasn't metal in the way Cal expected. It was layered. Synthetic musculature, crystalline nerve lattices, bioreactive polymers grown, not assembled. A hybrid. Cognitive core initializing. Haven said quietly, as if volume itself mattered. Memory integrity at 99.8%. The chest lattice pulsed once. Then again, Cal's breath caught. A soft tone filled the chamber. Not an alarm, not a warning. A greeting. The being's head lifted. Its eyes, faceted, luminous, unmistakably aware, focused on Cal. It didn't speak at first. Instead, it looked around, took in the chamber, the walls, the distant hum of a city that had slept longer than most civilizations had existed. Finally, it spoke, not through speakers, but directly into Cal's neural interface. You are not one of us. Cal Sualuba. No, I'm human. A pause. Not mechanical. Thoughtful. Then why am I awake? Cal chose his words with care. Because your world didn't deserve to stay forgotten. And because you were built to choose what comes next. The being tilted its head, studying him with unsettling intensity. We feared that whoever found Haven would use us, it said. Turn us into tools or symbols. Cal shook his head. I don't even want ownership of this place. I just fix what's broken. Another pause. Then the being did something Cal hadn't expected. It bowed. Not deeply, not ceremonially, just enough to acknowledge intent. Then we will speak as equals, it said. I am Asura, last continuity architect of the Kepri Union. Cal felt the weight of that title settle over him. Outside the chamber, alarms began to ring, Federation signals finally breaking through Haven's dampening fields. Galakjalatsluly. First contact wasn't happening the way the galaxy expected. It was happening in a repair bay between a human and a survivor who had waited centuries to be treated like a person. Cal didn't wait for the Federation to make the first move. They were already watching. Sensors across Haven relayed every pulse of energy, every new light from the reawakening city ship. Looks like they finally realized we're awake, Cal muttered, observing the incoming fleet markers. 6 ships, wide formation, weapon systems charged but not deployed. Cautious, calculating, predictable. They underestimate you, Haven said. Humans have historically bypassed threat assumptions. Gal Smirka. Understatement of the century. The Federation hailed. Talrun's voice carried authority, but also unease. Cal Mercer, The asset you occupy is classified. Step away from the core. Authority will assume control. Cal leaned back, folding his arms. Step back? You abandoned it centuries ago. I didn't wake Haven to hand it over. Haven pulsed, shifting its internal lights into a subtle, protective pattern. External thrusters aligned to subtly shield the city's core, while drone repair units moved in a quiet, visible patrol. Your fleet is noted, Haven said. Aggression will trigger counter-restoration measures. Cal's eyes narrowed. Translation, leave us alone or get fixed. Talrun hesitated, scanning the unusual energy signatures. Restoration pulses, power surges, maintenance drones deploying with surgical precision. Nothing offensive, but every indicator screamed capability. Your construct demonstrates unprecedented autonomy, Talrun admitted. We will observe. Interference may result in escalation. Galag Jelatzluli. Observation's fine. Escalation's going to be a problem for you. Haven hummed softly. Probability of interference reduced if observation protocols are respected. Cal nodded, staring at the screens, tracking Federation hulls. Guess diplomacy works best when the other side knows you can fix everything they rely on without firing a shot. For the first time, Cal realized something vital. The Federation didn't just see humans as unpredictable. They forgot we could endure. Now, they would have to remember. And if they didn't, Haven and humans guiding it would ensure the galaxy learned anyway. Cal spent the next cycle preparing for the next step. Asura, the continuity architect, watched quietly, its luminous eyes following every movement. Haven had calibrated itself to ensure gradual, ethical activation. Cal's job was simple in theory: guide, not force. He moved from chamber to chamber, activating systems that had been frozen for centuries. Docks, corridors, auxiliary cores, all responded to his careful touch. Each activation brought more drones online, more light to the city ship's internal districts, more hum of life to systems long silent. Slow, Cal muttered to Haven. We do this slow, one unit at a time. Agreed, Haven replied. Uncontrolled activation risks catastrophic feedback. By the time Cal returned to the continuity unit chamber, he was ready. Asura stood among the dormant frames. Cal's hands hovered over the control interface. You understand the risks? He asked. Yes, Asura replied. Autonomy, consent, observation. All parameters accepted. Cal pressed the first sequence. Energy surged into the first dormant frame. Its systems booted with a hum that resonated through the hull. Micro-drones tended to delicate actuators, sensors aligned, neural cores stabilized. A second, third, and fourth frame followed. Each one blinked awake with awareness, greeted Cal and Asura, and began moving with precise, careful coordination. Haven monitored, allocating power, adjusting gravity vectors, activating repair conduits in anticipation of the newcomer's movement. Galspul Sarasa. This was no longer just a ship, no longer just a city. Haven had become the seed of a civilization reborn, and humans were the gardeners. We are awake. One of the newly restored continuity units said softly. What is our purpose? Cal stepped forward. You choose. But the first rule? Don't leave anything broken behind. A chorus of agreement, mechanical, synthetic, human, resonated softly. Even Asura's glow seemed to brighten, if that was possible. Outside, sensors twitched again. The Federation fleet observed silently, unaware of just how different this awakening was from anything they had expected. Cal whispered, almost to himself, we fix, we endure. That's humanity's way. And for the first time, Haven wasn't alone. Humanity's touch, gentle, deliberate, unstoppable, was everywhere. The awakening didn't go unnoticed for long. Federation sensors, long attuned to power fluctuations, flagged a spike. A signal pinged through Cal's interface, and a subtle vibration rolled along Haven's hull. A warning, or perhaps curiosity. Cal stood at the observation deck, watching the energy grids pulse with life. The continuity units moved with precision, calibrating themselves, testing the environment, learning. A Federation ship broke formation, entering a wider orbit. Not a drill, Cal muttered. They want a peek. Observation is probable, Haven said. They may not comprehend the scale of restoration and progress. Cal leaned forward. Then we show them, but carefully. He keyed the long-range display, projecting the massive hangars, restoration corridors, and swarms of builder drones in coordinated motion. Every mechanical limb, every powered conduit, every lighted control panel was a testament to what had been preserved and what humans could awaken. The Federation vessel stopped dead in the viewing range. Their screens likely overflowed with data they couldn't process in real time. Then the hails began. Demands, questions, warnings. Gal smilat finally. Keep calm, Haven. They think this is about control. It's not. Observation acknowledged, Haven said. Restoration remains primary objective. Cal guided the continuity units through operational drills. They lifted damaged drones, repaired hull breaches, calibrated life support nodes, and synchronized energy flows, all under the careful eye of the Federation fleet. Nothing aggressive, nothing threatening, just competence, precision, restoration. The Federation commander's voice came through finally, tense but curious. We have never seen this scale of self-repair. How is it possible? Cal leaned back, folding his arms. It's simple. Humans fix what everyone else abandons. Haven's lights pulsed brighter in agreement. The swarm of drones assembled into a clean formation, signaling readiness. The Federation didn't advance. They didn't fire. They didn't retreat. They just watched. Cal realized something fundamental. This was the first test, not of weapons or fleet strength, but of understanding. And humanity, with Haven and the continuity units, had just passed. The city ship hummed with life, but the human presence was the catalyst. Every drone, every system, every continuity unit seemed to respond more efficiently when Cal was nearby, making small adjustments with intuitive precision. Haven spoke softly as Cal worked alongside Asura, monitoring a cluster of newly awakened frames. Observation. Human intuition accelerates restoration by 42%, Haven reported. Cal chuckled, wiping sweat from his brow. I've been fixing dead ships since I was 15. I guess it's in my bones. Astra, the second continuity unit, now fully operational, turned to him. Your species, you repair what others abandon, even when there's no profit, no recognition. Gal smilat finally. Yeah, that's us. Weird, stubborn, and kind of relentless when it comes to fixing things. Astra studied him. You treat Haven like a living partner. Gal Bauja. It is alive in its own way, and it listens because I treat it like it matters. Haven's lights brightened across the corridors. Statement acknowledged. Symbiotic operational enhancement initiated. Together, they worked through broken corridors, resurrecting manufacturing units, repairing hull fractures, and recalibrating navigation systems that hadn't moved in centuries. Each success brought a pulse of light through Haven's districts, signaling more systems online and more potential for life. From the observation deck, Cal watched the city ship stretch its wings. The hull plates, once bent and dead, now aligning. Energy conduits glowing faintly under the sun. He felt a thrill run through him. This wasn't just restoration. This was creation, and humanity had a hand in it. Suddenly, Asura's eyes glowed brighter, and a soft tone resonated through the chamber. Incoming signal. External interest increased exponentially. Galagjalat. Of course, when you do something impressive, everyone wants to see it or claim it. Haven hummed, stabilizing energy fields. Human touch ensures efficiency while minimizing risk. You are integral. Cal ran a hand over a console, watching the fleets and drones synchronize. Then we keep going, one step at a time. Fix what's broken. Wake what can be awakened. Show the galaxy that humans are just really, really good at this. Outside, the sun reflected off newly repaired hulls, and distant fleets hesitated, uncertain how to respond to a human-led resurrection of an ancient, forgotten civilization. Months passed, though time felt warped inside Haven. Cal moved from one sector to another, overseeing restoration, guiding continuity units, and mentoring Asura as it learned not just to repair but to teach. Haven itself had become more than a ship. Its hull now gleamed under the yellow sun, a sprawling city of metal, light, and life, fully functional and self-aware. The swarm of drones, once mere tools, operated like a coordinated organism, responding to Cal's subtle gestures and Haven's guidance. Cal stood at the observation deck, looking out at a sector of space that once housed only abandoned wrecks and forgotten stations. Now, dozens of systems were online. Factories humming, repair stations active, old warships realigned and ready, all connected in a network of human-driven restoration. A Federation envoy hailed the city. Cal ignored it for a moment, watching the solar light dance across Haven's hull. He realized, with a quiet thrill, that the galaxy would remember humans, not as conquerors or opportunists, but as restorers. A voice interrupted his thoughts. "Restorer," Asura said softly, luminous eyes reflecting the star. "The continuity units are fully operational. They understand choice, preservation, and ethical interaction." Gal Nudda. "Good. Let them decide. Our job isn't to rule. It's to fix, guide, and endure." Haven hummed, thrumming through Cal's boots and into his chest. The city ship was alive, aware, and infinitely patient. It had waited for a species that didn't see it as a weapon. A species that could understand restoration as a form of power. "Looks like we built more than a ship," Cal muttered. "We built hope. Humanity's touch isn't just about survival anymore. It's about legacy." From the observation deck, he saw distant stars reflecting off restored fleets and stations. Somewhere beyond sight, other humans would hear of this. They'd see what one person could do when given the chance to awaken what the galaxy had forgotten. The Federation stayed at a cautious distance, watching, recalculating. But even they couldn't deny it. Haven and its network were operational, autonomous, and guided by a human who understood fixing the impossible. Cal exhaled, feeling the weight of centuries in his bones. He hadn't sought glory. He hadn't sought control. All he wanted was to restore the abandoned. Instead, he had restored a civilization. And the galaxy would never forget that humans were the species that didn't give up. Not on machines, not on lost worlds, and certainly not on themselves. As the sun reflected off Haven's fully repaired hull, Mercer smiled. This was only the beginning.